All right, we're back on gaming, and I have to say that we have a lot to talk about today. Very tech-heavy this week, okay? But I will say, because it could help, some people's lives, so for those who don't know. However, I do want to start off. We're not going to start with EA. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave EA out of the equation this week, even though there's a couple things I could say about them that make me laugh, but whatever, all right? We need to talk about the FCC, okay? Because this net neutrality thing, for them to fast lane the internet, this is something that should not happen. Now, for those who don't understand what is going on, the FCC has decided to fast lane or slow lane, or should we say reclassify what the internet is about. Pretty much, whoever has the most money and pays for their articles to get out faster will have the advantage when it comes to anyone else making articles. It is no longer a competition on where you want to go. They're going to tell you, if you do a search on your computer, whoever paid the most will get top billing. That is absolutely wrong. This is about money at this point. And we've seen this over and over again. We've seen the copyright, claims. We've seen how YouTube itself, and I will talk about YouTube later, YouTube itself has given power to companies and governments and super flaggers. We've also seen how, other people, on the internet in general, the way they use ads and things of that nature, how they're taking over the internet. It wasn't like this X amount of years ago. It wasn't. And now we're seeing that within the control, they are putting us in a bubble. So, what does this mean? This means that the FCC is doing this simply for money. And when people speak out about this, and I say this at their hearings, all right, when they announced this, there were protesters. For those who don't know, protesters were out in front of their offices protesting net neutrality. Why are you taking it away? And then when the hearing happened, they let those protesters in to hear what was going on. And when they decide to have an opinion, and we're not talking threatening or mob mentality, no. When people stand up and give their opinion on why this shouldn't happen, they're dragged out.
Where Comcast seems to rule is an example of the lack of legitimacy of our democracy. And we want to make sure that people understand the context of this is that we have an illegitimate democracy and we have the people ruling. It's obvious the internet's a common carrier. It brings us all equally to the net, where we can all go without any prejudice or bias, without any kind of discrimination. We don't want to see that end. We want to see the FCC do its job and regulate the internet for the people, not to regulate it for the corporations. We don't want you driving under the influence of Comcast. We want you driving under the influence of the people.
My name is Margaret Flowers. I'm also with PopularResistance.org. In the 21st century, the internet is our free speech, but in this country, we're losing our rights to free speech. The internet was created with our public dollars as part of the public commons. It should never have been reclassified. We need to put it back in the public space, reclassified. This is our right.
Keep the internet free.
I'm kidding that. I signed up to join the United States Army 45 years ago. I pledged to defend and support the United States Constitution, including the First Amendment. You're trying to destroy First Amendment rights to free speech and free press. I am totally against that. That's okay. I can be arrested. Yeah, you can't follow me.
Okay, we now have...
And the commons are for all the people.
And
58,000 soldiers died for the common good.
So is that how you treat people, FCC? You let these people in to be heard. And at a hearing, guess what? People are allowed to speak their opinion. It's not like this guy is yelling at you. I didn't see him threaten anybody. I didn't see him try to charge or rush anything and, try to attack anyone. No gesture whatsoever to say that he was being aggressive. This guy raised his hand, because they're not allowed to speak unless, they stand up or anything. Stands up and says, hey, look, I don't agree with this move, and I'm going to tell you why for this reason and this reason. Give him a number of examples where the FCC is just like, oh, wait, he's telling the truth or he's got logic, so throw him out. That makes no sense whatsoever. Is this the type of freedoms we have now, or should I say lack of freedom? Because you can't speak your mind now, when it comes to a hearing. You have to be kidding me. Because that's all it is, a hearing. It's an announcement. Guy tells you how it is without being nasty, and you throw him out. That's not all, though. A lot of people are saying that the FCC, they're doing this simply because they want to, stage for power or money. It's more than just that. This is about money, though. And I'm going to explain. Because if the FCC didn't pull this, check this out. Big Cable threatens to create internet fast lanes even if the FCC beefs up net neutrality. That's right. So if the FCC wasn't for this and they wanted to be more fair, cable companies would have took it on their own accord to do this. What does this tell you? It means that they were stuck pretty much between a rock and a hard place to make a move. And the cable companies, as we know, they try to monopolize everything, so they were going to try to get their way regardless. Understand where the problem lies now. It's not just the FCC. This is about cable companies. And we'll talk about this a little bit more. Comcast is to make data caps. That's right, for all consumers. So all you gamers understand, when they push out data caps, if you go over your limit, whether it's the internet, you're streaming, or you're playing video games, they're going to charge you up. This is what Comcast is trying to do now. This is the sad part about how these companies are acting. Now, mind you, a couple years ago, this would have never been thought of because consumers would have, it would have been a backlash. Consumers would have stood up. Now is your chance to stand up. There's no reason why Comcast is doing this other than to make more money. And if Comcast pulls this off, other companies are going to follow suit. We've been talking about this for a previous, month and a half or so. Verizon is trying to do it. AT&T is now buying out DirecTV, so they're going to try and go after it. That's not all. YouTube acquires Twitch TV for more than $1 billion, okay? Now, there has been an update not too long ago where Microsoft has okayed the deal. Like, a number of companies are okay with this deal. Now, I'll put it like this. You do understand if YouTube acquires Twitch TV, this is going to be a problem. We already knew that Sony and Microsoft already had deals with Twitch TV. We also know that YouTube, as of late, has, there's a number of companies like Disney have taken over some, of their networks, their partnered networks. So we know that all these companies are getting in line to take over. With YouTube taking over Twitch, I feel this is a bad idea, okay? And I say this because the internet reacted the same way. If you do this, imagine this. Twitch plays Pokemon, right? That's what we saw. Could you imagine under the guidelines for YouTube, with copywriting and things of that nature, if they pushed that over to Twitch, the headline wouldn't have been Twitch plays Pokemon. It would have been Nintendo takes down streams. That would have been the headline. Now, the internet has reacted since then. I'm going to put the link in the info bar, where people have sat here and said, majority of people are heavily against this. Heavily. But then you do have people who are for it. There's one guy who was saying how YouTube, it'll be under more professional stakes. Don't even get me started on that, okay? It's amazing how YouTube can spend $1 billion to buy out Twitch TV, yet they can't even have a call center for their partners when they're in trouble. That's nothing professional. There's nothing professional about YouTube, okay? Unless you're a big draw, they'll probably give you the number that you can call them, but anyone else is screwed. I don't want to hear that. They could have easily made a network for people to take calls or wherever, and I don't care how many people are going to call a day. That's their problem. They are business, okay? You have to have that type of connection and not just, oh, well, you can email us and we'll get back to you in X amount of either hours, days, or weeks, sometimes months, depending on who you are on the food chain. This is something that they should have thought about. YouTube deserves, their partners deserve call centers, complaint centers, and things like that. You have to have that as a business. You have to have some type of customer service, and you don't have any, really. It's non-existent. But you can spend $1 billion to buy out Twitch TV. That's not very professional. Then you have other people on here saying, hey, this is a great idea. And you know the people who are saying this? Do you know who? The esports community. Oh my God. So the esports community thinks that this is a good move for them because of the fact that, yeah, it benefits them because of their streaming. But what you're failing to realize, esports community, is that no one cares. You are the minority in this group, all right? If YouTubers are getting flagged down by super flaggers or whatever, all right, or all of a sudden gamers want to, stream a game and they catch on to that copyright and then their stream is taken down, that's it. See, esports guys, they have those, those contracts with certain companies. They can play certain games. So that's okay, for them. And let me tell you something about esports. I want to talk about this, all right? Because it's getting out of hand. You already know how I feel about esports, okay? But now we're going to have fantasy esports. Like fantasy football. Are you serious? Because now apparently playing video games is passive enough that we need a fantasy league for it. Are you serious? And here's the thing. These are the same people who say they don't like sports and bag on sports, but you're taking everything from sports. You understand that? Because I'm telling you now, the esports draft, it's coming. It's coming whether you like it or not. You've got to be kidding me here. They're building a stadium, they just said not too long ago, they're building a stadium for esports. Now you're going to have fantasy esports. Yes, the draft is coming. This is absolutely ridiculous. They said the people who don't like sports take everything from sports. I don't understand this. Right? It's ridiculous. But let's move on. It's an absolute joke. I'm sorry, but look, like I said, it's okay if you want to compete on a specific level, but to call yourself a sport, no, you're not. No, it's just not. Okay, now, Firefox. That's right, we gotta talk about Firefox. For those who don't know, they have been forced to add DRM into their network. That's right, into their search engine. So now we're gonna have problems. Mozilla CTO Andreas Gall announced that the browser will implement DRM in the form of the W3C encrypted media extension, which he said was forced to do by the ongoing adoption of W3C EME by content providers. Okay? It says Mozilla, how you like to say it, would have preferred to see the content industry move away from locking content to a specific device, also called node locking. Yes, you know, because that's free flow of information. You don't want to see this happen. However, it says, and work to provide alternatives. He wrote, instead, this approach has now been enshrined in the W3C EME specification. All right? With Google and Microsoft shipping W3C EME and content providers moving over their content from plugins to W3C EME, Firefox users are at risk of not being able to access DRM restricted content. An example, Netflix, Amazon Video, Hulu. Okay? So once again, as you can see, this is going to become a problem. All right? They're being forced into this way because that's where, you know, the trend is right now. Now, Phillips, that's right, Phillips has come out and said that they want the WiiU banned for patent infringement. Look, Nintendo already has a problem with the WiiU not really selling much. I mean, they're still selling, but let's be honest here. It's not selling the way it should be selling because they don't have that third-party support, right? So they want the patent infringement. And on top of this, Nintendo is becoming, the WiiU is becoming Nintendo's worst-selling console ever. That's right. Well, one writer writes. Understand that Nintendo really needs to work on whatever they're going to do next. Because whatever they do, don't get me wrong, we're seeing a lot of people, and we've seen it for years now, people don't want Nintendo to succeed. We know that the US market doesn't want Nintendo to succeed, which is kind of blasphemy if you ask me, because if it wasn't for Nintendo, we wouldn't be playing video games today. It would have ended, you know, in the early 80s. But it seems like people have forgotten that. You know, the markets have become stronger. We've seen guys, you know, become arrogant. That's what this industry is now. It's a ball of arrogance. I don't understand why you would want a specific console to fail. I don't understand it. As a gamer, you want all these consoles to, you know, I don't believe, I said this before, I don't believe in restricting content, you know, to certain, you know, consoles, you know, unless it's first party, okay. But I really believe that the more, you know, consoles you have out there, you don't have to buy them all, but it breeds competition, and it works for us as a consumer. That's what it does. To want something to fail badly is horrible. You know, when it comes on, you know, when it comes to that type of company and that nature, since Nintendo has a history of this, it's sad to see. However, I do want to talk about more tech and, you know, things that will help people in the future. And I want to talk about right now sensory augmentation equipment that is going to change, if you ask me, the way the elderly and the handicapped actually work in society.
IDOS consists of two pieces of experimental equipment, one for sight and one for hearing. We found that while we experience the world as many overlapping signals, we can use technology to first isolate and then amplify the one we want. Our first device applies this approach to the way we see motion, achieving a similar effect to long exposure photography, but for live experience. By detecting and overlaying movement, it allows us to see hidden traces and patterns in real time. It features a camera and head-mounted display and works by sending captured video to a computer where it is processed by custom software and then displayed for the viewer. Our second device lets us hear speech more selectively. Distracting background noise is neutralized, while the speech you want to focus on is sent directly to your inner ear.
So, can you hear me now? Yes? Good, I can hear you.
It uses directional microphones to capture audio input that passes through the software before being outputted through speakers and transducers. Unlike standard headphones that have two channels, left and right, our device has three, the two earpieces plus a central mouthpiece for speech. In sport, Post-match analysis is often used as a tool to enhance players' performance. By using IDOS Vision, we could analyse motion live, letting the player or coach visualise performance as it happens. This could also enhance the action for spectators. With the evolution of our software, IDOS can be applied to fashion or ballet, bringing a whole new feature to arts and live performance. Not only are sight and hearing our most important senses, they are also our least stable, declining earlier in life than touch, taste or smell. We see applications of IDOS in strengthening signals weakened by ageing and disability. Being able to hear more selectively would have benefits for children with ADHD by helping them to concentrate in busy or distracting environments.
Now, what you're seeing is a prototype, so I'm sure by now that they've made it smaller, more convenient for people, so it's not so big and bulky. I'm sure that this is something that could help people in the long run, technology-wise, and it's sad to see that this isn't getting enough coverage as it deserves. Now, I also want to talk about more technology when it comes to Google, like Google Glass, because I haven't had a chance to get my hands on it and, see how it works, hands-on. However, I know a lot of people who do have one and who have had hands onto it, and I just feel as though they like it, but there's a lot of people online who don't like it. There's no way I'm paying $1,500 for a pair of glasses that have internet, and cameras installed in it, because for those who don't know, and the article will be in the info bar, it costs lower than $80 to make and manufacture. That's right, lower than $80. $1,500 for a pair of glasses that only cost $79.94, I believe, to make. That is way too much. All right, and I put it like this: for people who back Google, I understand that they need to make a profit. All right, I'm sure they spent a lot of money in research and development, but if you're going to sell this product, you have to make it a little bit more practical. You have to drop down the price if you want to see any money come back on this project. This is ridiculous. There's no reason why something that you can make for $80 should cost $1,500. And we've seen this before with sneakers as well, where they cost $3 to make, but they charge $150 for sneakers, and it's ridiculous. We've called them on it, and now I'm calling you on it. Okay? It's really simple, Google. Lower the price quite a bit. If you sold this for like $300, maybe $400, people would eat it up. They would. And you would see so much money come back to you. But now you have competition with other people who are going to do that as well. So pretty much you've missed the boat. I don't know how you're going to fare in this, because for those who don't know, at one point they stopped making them, and now they're bringing them back out. You have to drop the price on these if you want to make a profit. Just saying. Now, I do want to move on to more, because VR. I know a lot of people, like the VR stuff that we're seeing as of late when it comes to video games, but apparently when you die in VR, you get sick in real life, and we're talking Eve Valkyrie. Now look, that's going too far. You're getting sick if you die. Like, video games are about not having consequences unless you have a built story. Okay? They're about having fun. If you die, guess what? Oh well. You can just start over. You can respawn. If I die in a game and I get sick from that game, I'm not going to want to play it anymore. That's taking the fun away from it. That makes no sense. If that's the case, then I guess every fighting game that people play, they'd be screwed. They'd be literally, you might as well just go out and really fight in the street if that's the case. There's no reason why you should get sick in real life by playing video games. And I think this is becoming a problem. Now, mind you, so far, this is something that's isolated, okay? But we don't know how far this is going to go. And quite honestly, I don't want to see it go any further. But I do hear good things about Oculus and Oculus, I'm sorry. And I do want to see where this, where they can take video games with this, VR system. But if this is the consequence to it, then, leave me out. It's not worth it. It's not about having guts or being brave to take it on. No, it's absolutely stupid. If you think, like I've said before, if you think that always online needs to be on, like I said, they're video games. You don't need all these things to play a video game. Just like I don't need to get sick to play a video game. You know what I mean? Or have a consequence in a video game. I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. Now, speaking of more things that are ridiculous, female gamers, once again, are being stereotyped. And I feel that this is pretty sickening for what's going on. I've been telling you for how long. You're going to have people who try and exploit this community and exploit the culture of gaming. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Gamer Girls Magazine, that's right, Gamer Girls Magazine, has decided to try and stereotype what the female gamer looks like. So let's take a look at the picture. I've told you before, there are many people out there that will try and exploit this community, this gaming culture. And this is no different. Let's get into this, because the person who wrote this article, Gamer Girls Magazine, who wrote it, slams Gamer Girls Magazine. They are right on point. So let's get into this. It says, if there's one ploy that is sure to get virgin nerd gamers everywhere during doing the waistband super tough, and it says, look it up, ladies. It says, it's pictures of sexy girls holding controllers, right? Let's stop right there. Should we talk about the times that we've seen Jessica Chobot licking controllers or Olivia Munn licking controllers? Like, understand, they will take what you love and bastardize it, all right, for their personal gain. That's what's going on here. And it seems like every time I talk about this, people just think I'm crazy. But yet, I keep showing you proof. So, let's keep going. It says, apparently, that's when the creators of Game Girls Magazine seem to think that because rather than releasing a magazine that could be properly used as an outlet for strong female characters in gaming and the ladies who actually play them, they've released an absolute piece of drivel appealing to the lowest common denominator, which is sex. And that's what it says. Now, it says, on the very first cover of this quite obvious, prestigious magazine, we have graceful Christy Ann, the stereotypical female gamer, ... or not. It says, daintily holding an Xbox controller, she demonstrates that despite the condition of her taped-together nerd glasses, she still can afford a boob job, but not a shirt. Yeah, so, let's move on, because they talk about Christy Ann's game stats. Apparently, her game stats are her measurements. Yeah, let's keep going. It says, moving inside, we've got a page that shows us will be profiles on 5 stunning ladies who all represent different different gaming essentials. It says, I don't know about you, but the only gaming essential I need is some Cheetos and Mountain Dew. It says, oh wait, that's just another stupid stereotype. Upon further inspection, you'll find that every game girl ever plays games in booty shorts and knee-high socks or underwear. Yeah, apparently, because that's how gaming girls, and all girls in gaming, that's how they play their video games, apparently. Okay? It says, not only that they do that while seductively bent over a coffee table, it says, in what has to be my favorite portion of the preview, our temptress Christy Ann asked, what superhero or villain would you identify with? To which she bouncily replies, The Flash, because I love flashing people. Laugh out loud. And this guy says, laugh out loud is right. Because it's absolutely ridiculous. It says, here's the biggest problem with this magazine. It's saying it's about gamer girls, yet has no coverage of anything actually based on gaming. It's trying to be Playboy light while playing to the lowest common denominator possible. It says, look, Ray60, that is the creator of this magazine, Ray360, okay? If you want to do softcore porn, then do softcore porn. But don't do it under the thinly veiled guise of Gamer Girl Magazine. That's an insult to the women out there who actually play games and enjoy them. I agree completely. Don't sit here and tell me that that's okay. And you hear time and time again about how women are being stereotyped. Guess what? A lot of gamers are stereotyped. Gamers in general are stereotyped. When they say gamer, most of the people out in this world think of, like I said, nerds with taped together glasses and pocket protectors and people who live in their basement and things of that nature. You hear this time and time again. However, with women, all they do is try to point out the sexuality when it comes to what a gamer girl looks like. It's absolutely ridiculous. Can girls be sexy? Yes, but it doesn't mean that they're sitting bent over a coffee table in lingerie playing video games. Anyone who believes that this is the truth should be ashamed of themselves. However, there's guys out there who fall for this. And I don't understand why. It seems like it's like all the blood just left your brain and went to your penis. That's what it seems like. What's wrong with you? You know better to fall for this. But yet, you're saying, oh, it's okay. It's amazing because I had a lot of people as of late telling me, I don't care what other people do on here. I just want to be entertained. It's people like that make things like this, all of a sudden justifiable. It's not entertaining. They aren't gamers. And they're taking what you love because, for everyone to say they have so much passion and they love gaming, they're taking what you love. And they're bastardizing it, and yet you have people saying, that's okay. Obviously, you don't have that much passion. You should know better that you have to defend the gates at times. Sometimes you got to create the moat. Let these people know that, you're not going to take this. But yet when I say that, I'm wrong. I'm the bad guy. For giving you a little bit of reality, this is what they're doing. If you keep letting them get away with it, guess what? They're going to keep doing it. Or they'll do it even bigger than that. Like I said, we just saw not too long ago PS4 live sex shows and carrying on. And a lot of you said, you know, well, they're not really gamers. They're doing it to get an audience. But they're using the gaming audience to do it. The same thing with this. They're using the gaming culture and audience to make this sell. Because now gaming, because it's pop culture, now they're going to do that. They're going to try and use it in any way possible to get big. Where's our gaming ambassador? Oh, wait. We don't really have one. Let's move on. Capcom, that's right, to encourage diversity and promote female employees. Now, when this article came out, a lot of you asked me, is this really a bargaining chip, or are they trying to be legit? I personally think, with all the problems that Capcom is having, this is a bargaining chip. This is their way of trying to get into their good graces, because for those who don't remember, in 2009, and I'll put the link in the info bar, a female was harassed at their job to the point where she tried to commit suicide. So, yeah, and that was by another female as well. So, it's not just, you know, oh, it's just picking on female. No, it was a female picking on another female, and she, you know, contemplated on having suicide. For Capcom to all of a sudden say, we're going to promote this? No, they're trying to push up their profile. They're trying to say, hey, look at us, we're trying to do better. That's what it is, not because the person deserved it. I'm sure that person did deserve to get promoted. I'm sure she did. But that's not why they did it. Like, there's too many things that Capcom has done for me to believe just, oh, they just turned the corner all of a sudden, and I'm going to believe them. There's just too much. Like I said, you lie to me once, that's all you're going to get. So, yeah, you got to really prove yourself if you want a second chance. And I don't think this is really what they're doing. Because as we know, they're still doing, you know, other things with DLC and such of that nature that still screws people over. I will talk about that in a minute, about screwing people over, all right? Because, here we go. Jade Raymond says she is tired of gamers being treated like idiots and tired of chainsaws and bikinis. Look, Jade Raymond, all right? First off, I don't understand how you can say you're tired of gamers being treated like idiots. And she talks about in the article, you know, about no one just wants sex all the time and things of that nature. And yeah, that's true. No one does, all right? And it sounds like she's taking a really big shot at Lollipop Chainsaw. It really does. But there are some games that do just have chainsaws in it and some that have bikinis in it, all right? We know this. However, check this out. Watch Dogs, special edition. All right, all the special editions total up to $1,240. Where have we seen this before? Assassin's Creed 4. That's right. So, Jade Raymond, you want to talk about how gamers, you're tired of them being treated like idiots. Why don't you start with the very basic thing by not milking the hell out of gamers then? Because for those who don't know, Assassin's Creed, you're getting 2 games this year. That's right. For people who like Assassin's Creed, 2 games. I'm sure it's going to be loaded with DLC. Jade Raymond, if you want to be taken seriously, don't do this. Prove yourself. If you don't want gamers to be treated like idiots, stop milking the hell out of them. You're okay with that though, right? Because it keeps you in the industry, it keeps your name out there, right? It's this simple. I understand that you're just making, you know, helping make the games, and you know, this is Ubisoft's, you know, this is their baby to say how things go. But if you're in the article says, you know, she's a veteran, she has say so and all these things, well then say something about it. It's amazing how a lot of these people did not step up when video games were being blamed, and gamers in general, the community, were being blamed for killing people, things of that nature. We'll talk about that very soon. Again. None of them speak up on that, though. No. You know, I'm getting real tired of this. Because of this. Like I said, they pick and choose what they want to talk about to make themselves look good. But when we need their help, because constantly, if you look every day, every minute, every second, I guarantee you right now as I'm doing this video, there is somebody in another video having an argument about what game they like and what developer they like or whatever. And they are fighting to the end. It's amazing how gamers can back these companies and these developers and these games and fight for them and go to bat with them every day, second of the day. But these developers can't do it for them. These companies can't do it for them. Not once. Sad. I want to move on about this, about gamers being blamed again, because motive is unclear in the 2013 Nevada school shooting. And yes, video games are blamed again. So, let's get into this. The family owns, this is what the police chief said in Nevada. The family owns an Xbox 360 and 69 video games, okay? Of those 69 video games owned, 47 are violent-themed first-person shooter or shooter-type games such as Grand Theft Auto 5, Hitman Absolution, Assassin's Creed, and Call of Duty 4. Video games were listed as one of the potential external influences. So once again, video games being blamed for a shooting. Where are you at, Jade Raymond? Where are you at, Nia Sarkeesian? I'm just wondering where all these people at when they step up and say these things. They are never around when you need them. It's sad. And the thing is, gamers, all you do is give them ammo because you don't fight back. And if you don't believe me, and this is what I mean about YouTubers, like I said, understand the influence that happens here that causes people to act like this just to get a little bit of fame on True TV.
Gerald loves his video games.
Freaking flashbang! It's supposed to stun you so you can't see! So when I shoot, you die!
Maybe love isn't the right word.
I see. Shut up! Shut up! You guys suck! Can you hear me? You guys suck ass! Can you hear me? Why are you bother playing this game when you're terrible and you suck? You right there!
Guess this game is called Meltdown.
And then people wonder why I don't like these type of videos. The influence that it gives to others, whether you are creating a character or you're just doing it for entertainment, and people see you get big and say, hey, I want the same thing. That's what they do. They're not thinking about how it affects the community. They're not thinking about how it makes all gamers look, including themselves, making themselves look like jackasses. All right? But they think this is how things are done. This is how gaming is. And I say this also to people who are outside of our community. When they see videos like this, they're thinking, this is why we don't like video games. Look how people are acting. You're giving ammo to people like the police who say, look at his rage. You gonna tell me if you put a real gun in his hand that he wouldn't do anything? That's what they're thinking. Of course, we know that's not, what would happen, but that's what they're thinking. You have to understand that perception is everything. And it seems like people don't understand. I don't know how many examples I can keep giving you. I mean, hell, they even put a damn laugh track in the video because it wasn't funny. It goes to show you that this is what people strive to do. The influence that you have to make others do that. If you're going to influence someone, do it positively. Don't do it just go out there and rage and whatever. Because I guarantee you, that's not real. No way is that real. All right? However, I'm sure there are people who do naturally rage. It happens, okay? I get it. But in that case, no. I'm not buying it. That's just something for people to get famous and for them to get views and for people to just jump all over and say, hey, this is funny. I'm going to subscribe to you. They expect more of it. They expect you to make a spectacle of yourself. And then you wonder why it's harder for people who try and tell the truth and say, hey, look, it's time for us to come together. And people say, I don't have time for that because I want to see this guy act a fool. Really? It's sad. Like I said, then you wonder why we have these problems. But I'm going to talk more about gamers being blamed because I'm sure this is going to happen. Edward Snowden, when he did his, his leaks and things of that nature, saw himself as a video game hero. And they're going to connect that to us. They're going to. This community is in such shame right now. It's just taking punch after punch after punch. And nobody is punching back, it seems. So we're supposed to just lay down. We're supposed to be submissive. But I guarantee you, if I call one of you a bunch of names, you'll get upset real quick and want to call me back names. You'll want to fight then. It's amazing how you'll fight with YouTubers, but when a media outlet just goes right after you and lets you know, or a YouTuber makes you look bad, and I mean the community, when they make you look bad, you never say anything to them. Why? Is there something that you're afraid of that you're not telling me? Is there a chain of command that I don't know about? I don't know. Anyways, Kotaku writes an article about video game pre-orders are out of control. You are late to the game, Kotaku. We don't need you. We've been handling this for years. I don't really care for this article simply for the fact that it's so late. It's like, seriously, when this article came out, people were like, oh, now they want to talk about it. Yeah, that's how I feel. You're late. You didn't want to listen to us, so whatever. I want to move on. Titanfall loses CTF and Pilot Hunter on PC. So now they're taking away options. And they say it was low demand, it was low volume traffic. I don't care if it's low volume traffic at all. You don't give them options and then take it away from them. You don't do that. That's ridiculous. and I want to move on to more disgusting news. Hackers DDoS Operation Supply Drop charity. So all the people, and I promoted some of you on a fan page who were, participating in this. Apparently Rooster Teeth, who had a 24-hour stream going, were DDoSed quick. Didn't take long at all. Who does this for charity? Seriously. Now I know a lot of people are saying, what do you expect? There's people overseas who don't like, American soldiers and things of that nature. This is about video games. This is not about politics. This is about gamers doing something positive and showing the world that video games isn't about rage and killing. And you take that away from people? Really? That's what pisses me off about this. Not, the politics things. Leave the politics out of video games. Leave it out of video games. All it does is it makes things... Politics and money, all they do is make things confusing. They do. And the thing is, because you have companies, and we've seen this before, pay trolls to influence others to say certain things, then they're on the bandwagon. Like, it's never about, hey, we have a product, go after it. See if you like it. And we're going to talk about that right now. Since Jade Raymond hates, chainsaws, fighting game community, I saw that a lot of you, even though we exposed Shaq Fu 2 for what it was, a lot of people are happy for Shaq Fu. I don't understand why. But if you're happy for Shaq Fu, then you should be able, and I will put the link in the info bar for the Kickstarter, to get behind the chainsaw incidents. I don't understand how anyone cannot like this game. This game actually looks pretty cool. Like I said, I will put the Kickstarter in the info bar. The video is with it as well, so you can see exactly how it plays. Of course, this is just a prototype right now until they get the money they need for the backing. I don't understand how this is not backed by the fighting game community, but Shaq Fu 2 is. I don't understand that. Also, a gamer has been interviewed by Platinum Games because of apparently something that I talked about not too long ago. Now, for those who don't know, this is what it says. It says, I want to express my thanks for the time and attention you gave my response to the reviewer who did not feel it was worth the time to complete games before finishing it. For those who remember that video, I talked about how, remember, the game reviewer had wrote an article about how you don't have to finish games, in order to review them. And there was a gamer in the comments who went right after him about it. And the guy showed his arrogance towards that gamer. And the gamer was like, yeah, you're proving me right. Remember that. Okay. It says, I have no confidence in my ability, but occasionally I find myself responding to people that like that reviewer because their attitude is so damaging to the gaming medium. I have been playing games since 1982, and it's a hobby I'm really passionate about. But lately, I have seen that time and time again, all the very best games do not receive either the critical or commercial success they deserve. We see this as well. You're not alone. It says, I believe that the gaming press, as it stands today, is a lost cause. A lot of us feel that way, especially with the immaturity that they have displayed over the years. It says, these people do not have either the knowledge or vocabulary required to properly critique mechanically advanced games. I would go at these people guns blazing in the past, but after watching your video and the time that you kindly gave my response, I wanted to do more. I realize that I have a voice and people just might want to hear it. Rather than fight against the press, I want to take the discussion surrounding the release of the new mechanically deep games away from them. It says, just as I was thinking about trying to start my own gaming show channel on YouTube, I was contacted by Platinum Games who wanted to interview me. It says, the world works in really crazy ways. Between your video and now Platinum's interest in hearing from me, I almost worked up the courage to try and host my own show on YouTube. I just wanted to say a big thank you. Never think that you don't have a voice. Everybody has a voice. It's just a matter of time before you find it. If it took me to talk about you to get Platinum Games, between this and Platinum Games to interview you, by all means. And people, I will put the interview in the info bar where he was interviewed, by Platinum Games. I will do that. I don't need this anymore. Understand, everybody has a voice. It just depends on how you use it and what is your cause. We see a lot of people have a voice on here, but they're not really saying nothing. We see a lot of people on here who don't have the best interest for the community. They're about themselves. All they do is massage their own ego. We've seen this. But it seems like for some reason, when you act like you're better than people, and I mean this because if you play games or sports or whatever, all right? When you act like you're better than people, those people tend to flop towards that type of group. Why? Because that's what YouTube has made itself to be. And most of these are from grown men. I don't get it. You should be at a point now in your life where you're just like, you know what? I've seen it all. I've done it. Well, not done it all, but you've seen, a good amount of stuff experience-wise to know better not to act that way. But it seems like we have a lot of closet cases here. I just feel as though when you get good news like that, it goes to show you that you can influence. I told you before, if I can reach one person, that's all that matters. One. While we have people who are raging out and flipping out of their chairs who grab majority of views. That's fine. Because like I said, I don't do this for views. One person is enough for me. But it also makes us look bad. These are the type of things that bother me. And according to a lot of your comments, it bothers you as well. It goes to show you that today's gaming community, because I get a lot of mail saying this is not the gaming community I grew up with. This is not how things are supposed to be. I agree, it's not. But you can't tell them anything. You can't. They don't want to listen. And I don't understand that. So, the only way I can do it is by getting on this camera and saying what I have to say about these issues. That's how I do things. And if you just decide to follow, fine, you follow. If not, there's the door. It's fine. I'm not going to be mad. But you will always have somebody who will try and knock down what you do. Simply for the fact because you're on camera. Like I said, watch. When I put up this video, somebody will dislike it. Watch. But instead of just for what you're saying. We've shown on here time and time again, we have helped charities. We have done amazing things just on this channel alone. We have taken down companies. You know what I mean? We have shut people up. We have done a number of things. And it is sad that we see people who are larger than this channel who cannot take the same responsibility. Could you imagine if every big YouTuber decided to say, hey, look, we have some real issues to talk about. Let's do this. You know how many people we would be so strong as a community. But like I said, people are only worried about either entertainment or they're worried about themselves. Or you have the companies who have tricked these people into believing that if this is the way business is done and that you should just take it laying down. Like I said, children, tell your parents, they don't have to watch this video. But the links that I give you, definitely show them those links. Show them that Comcast is trying to put data caps on people. Show them what the FCC is doing. Show them what AT&T is doing. Show them how girls who play video games, how they're being treated right now. That's all you have to do. You don't, like I said, you don't have to listen to what I'm saying, as opposed to taking that information that I'm giving you in that info bar and coming up with your own opinions. That's what it's always been. Anyways, I'm done. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.